Welcome to Week in Horror.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
The only podcast that will feed your horror need.
The need to feed.
With JL.
Yeah, I'm a fucking masochist. I'll watch that shit.
Eugene.
Somebody has to be the sex symbol, I'm sorry.
Alex.
Shit, I just demonetized this forever.
And Johnny O.
How do you like that shit? Got halfway through the monologue before unmuting myself. Golly, it's one of them fucking days.
With industry guests.
Hi, this is Richard Oakes, Director of Host.
Hey, this is Adam Leader, Director of Host.
This is Matthew Mark Hunter.
I'm Donna Nelly.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
And this is Week in Horror.
And you're listening to Week in Horror.
Welcome to prime time, bitch!
News, trivia, and more.
One by one, we will take you.
Join our live show Wednesdays at 7 Central, youtube.com/weekinhorror, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Week in Horror. Stay scared.
Hey! Welcome back, horror fans. It is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. That means it is time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast you never, ever feed after midnight. Thank you for joining our live show, and for all of our podcast listeners, be sure to check us out so you too can interact directly with the show in our live chat. This week, we are covering select films released in horror history, August 22nd through the 28th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am JL, and with me tonight are Eugene, Alex, and Johnny O.
What's up, everybody?
What's happening?
Johnny, you're not muted.
Damn it. That's what your mom said. Ha!
Oh, he's a funny motherfucker. So, it is with great pride that, holy shit, guys, we hit triple digits. This is our 100th episode of Week in Horror.
Oh my God. We made it this far.
It is. I don't know
100 episodes. I'm blown away. Obviously, what started out as a kind of a hobby that we thought would just pass the time, has turned into something. I was turned into something quite huge that eats up most of my time and eats up a lot of your guys' time as well. And for this 100th episode, I wanted to express my gratitude to Eugene, Alex, Johnny, and also to my wonderful wife, Angela, who does all of our back-end stuff, all of our back-end editing, and all the cool stuff for the bloodbaths. Thank you, guys.
Angela has the most dangerous job.
No, actually.
Yes.
No,
handling
actually.
JL's back-end job.
I have the most dangerous job because I acquiesce to everything she does, everything she says when she's editing. And then all of our screw-ups she has to deal with. And I'm the one who shields you guys from everything that comes from her. So technically, I have the most dangerous job.
No. You don't get it. You said that she
took
handles
this and
all
you
of our
flipped it
back-end.
onto yourself again.
Pretty much. That's what I do for you
Angela's
guys.
a savior.
Angela, you can yell at me anytime you want because all I have to do is go la 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 la.
You're breaking up. I'm losing that connection.
I'm losing you.
Don't know what.
Here, let me hit my mic button. It might help. All right.
No, we love Angela. Angela's awesome.
She is. And want to let everybody in the live chat know, I know you can see the three of us. You're unable to see Alex. Alex is still dealing with some internet issues, so he's cut his vid. So it may make it easier for his audio to stream, so we don't run into any issues in this episode. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, they're laying fresh infrastructure out
Alex
there.
is stealing his neighbor's internet.
Oh, there you go.
You should have went with Alex. Just wanted to look like a boob.
All right. Now, before we jump into this, let's take a look. Who is in the live chat tonight? So Charlie Welch says first, fuck yes. Absolutely. And Charlie Welch, thank you so much for being here. NANA is second. Good to see you, NANA. Two of our amazing patrons. And a third, Surf, who is actually first Thank you so much, sir. Another one of our amazing patrons. And I see Jinju in there. What is that? Bacon and beer? God, that sounds good right now.
That's two of my favorite things. I got one of the two right here, though.
There you go.
You got bacon?
Yes, exactly.
Bacon flavored beer, which is gross. You would think, right? Bacon flavored beer. It's like, oh man, it sounds amazing. It's not.
No. Any kind of a fancy thing. When I worked for a YouTube channel, we had taste testings of weird sodas. We had bacon soda and ranch soda. Fuck that shit.
God.
Fuck it. It tastes like soda? It tastes like you licked somebody's armpit. After they like, I have a tough stomach. I can handle almost anything.
Well, you are a Marine.
So you were drinking those Jones sodas.
Yeah, something like that.
They do all that. Yeah, like the Jones Brewing Company does, or the Jones like soda company does all that. They have the unique kind of like the labels on their bottles. It's like weird, strange labels, and they always have weird flavors. They're the ones during Thanksgiving that come out with the Thanksgiving dinner tasting one that tastes like turkey gravy, mashed potato. Yeah, it's.
I don't know how they're in business.
Like, I have no idea.
Don't.
People love Jones sodas. Let's see who else we got here. We got Kevin Paul. Kevin Paul is
pain, I guess.
Kevin Paul is in the house.
Hey, Kevin.
And I saw Chris Durham Music Channel says, hello, Week in Horror Trivia question answers. Obviously, Peter Lorre in The Man Who Knew Too Much. Send me my autographed by the entire cast Bosch nail gun. Nice. Oh, and Kevin Paul would like to remind us, amateurs, LOL, you've done it 99 times already. You should have this down by now.
Nope.
We wouldn't
check
be
back
sticking brand if we didn't fucking have technical difficulties in our 100th episode.
Right.
If we didn't give JL a stutter, then we're not doing our jobs correctly as co-hosts.
This is true.
See? Oh, wait.
Shut up. And let me see here.
Shut up.
Sarcasm's in the house. It says, and eventually shit gets real. Yeah, eventually. Yes.
Eventually.
And of course, I know I saw her in the chat. Oh, there's Gavlar the Hand of Zod, another one of our amazing patrons. We've got so many of our awesome patrons up in here. Mr. Malort is in the house as well. Thank you. Good to see you. Ivy Gentry, good to see you as well. Dark Steve, another one of our amazing patrons. Everybody wishing us happy 100 fucking episodes. Can't believe it. I could have sworn I saw Tina. I see Tony Regime. Good to see you.
Yeah, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe I hallucinated seeing Tina Jones.
Wow.
All right, but no, I have no doubt she will. I have no doubt she'll be along shortly. Oh, and there's another one. Crafty Keela is in the house. Not only a patron, but also one of our guests who's been on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Charlie Welch. We did say hi to you, but I guess you came in and then left, and now you're back.
Yes, I said hi. First, I even read your
first.
Yeah, you did say
he was first. Tony Regime would like to let us know that his guest is Christopher Lee in The Devil Rides Out.
How do they do this? I mean, it's either Tony or Chris. They always get it. Now we have to change it. So let's change it really quick. Don't worry. We'll change it so everybody else has the opportunity to win.
Just so everybody knows, I was been looking through the all of our patrons should be moderators in the live chat. So
moderator,
and I see Taddy Bogle has shown up. Taddy,
Taddy, what's up, buddy?
I haven't got to hang out with Taddy in a while. Thank you so much for coming by. My one of the I think he's out of Scotland, isn't he?
I believe so. Yes.
That's awesome. Just everybody around. This is so freaking cool. All right, let me see what's going on. Okay, so before we dive into these, yes, thank you, Crafty. Appreciate it. That's awesome that you got Taddy to come in and pop in the stream and say hi. That's badass. Yeah. All right, so before we dive into this episode, I kind of wanted a roundtable because it's a special episode. We hit 100. This is number 100. So I kind of wanted. There's a lot of memories that went into making this show. Some good, some bad. All of them awesome. Because without them, we wouldn't be here. So I kind of wanted to go around the table and get everybody's what's your favorite memories or your memories from making show, or maybe even something that stood out or whatever. Just along this entire trip, it's been almost 2 years in the making. And I would start with the first phone call I made before we started this show, and that's Eugene. When I was like, I want to do a podcast, and I called Eugene, and he was like, yeah, sure. What am I getting into? What do you got? And I was like, it's been almost 2 years. What do you got?
Oh man, there's been so many great ones. I would have to go when we had Richard Oakes and Adam Leader on the show, because it was like 2 a.m. their time, and we're like, man, we can maybe adjust or something like that. They're like, no, we're good. We're totally fine. And we're like, okay. So we did the show, and we ended. It's like 5 a.m. their time, and then we chatted with them for like another 2 hours. And like eventually, it was like one of their like wives or girlfriends like came home, and she's like, "Are you still talking to him?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm still talking to him."
That was Neil. That was Neil we were chatting with.
And sorry, Neil came in. So like, I will give props to Across the Pond. Y'all go hard, hands down. Y'all go hard. Yeah, we'll start at 2 a.m. We'll go to 5. No problem at all.
And I think he said that he had he had like an audition or something that he had to go to, or some work he had to go through later that day, and he just happened to stay up with us like all night over there.
Drug.
To the girlfriend opens the door because he's right there in his living room, and the door opens, and she comes and is like, "What are you doing?" And he was like,
Like you got caught jerking off by his mom. Yeah.
What are you? It's
7 o'clock in the morning. You're still
it's that moment. Like, what are you doing? I'm cheating on you.
Yeah.
I'm doing drugs.
Oh, Crafty Keela says her favorite moment was beating all of us movie buffs in a quiz about movies during the movie game, the number 2 movie game that we did. Then when she took the prize.
So Max had to work.
That was fun. That was a good one. And she beat out me. She beat out PhD Tony. There were a bunch of people. Our patrons were pretty much there, and she whooped everybody, which is pretty cool. Let me see. Alex, the second person that I called about this show, when I said, "Hey, we need a third to bring awesome color commentary and someone with a different," because Eugene and I are kind of close in age, or closer in age than Alex is the baby of the group, and he has a unique perspective on this and unique experience, and I wanted to get him involved. I've known him for so long, and he was awesome. So, Alex, what's your favorite from the past near 2 years? And he's not there.
Riveting. There it is. That's typical Alex favorites right there.
That's his favorite. That right there. That's his favorite moment.
Perfect.
His favorite moment was bugging out.
Out.
Yep.
While we wait to see if he can come back. Johnny. So Johnny was with us. Was number 4. Came in as number 4. Actually, technically number 5, because we had another host who was an alternate who unfortunately didn't last with us. And
yeah, but he was only another host for like half an episode.
I think it was like 2 episodes. I think he got 2 episodes. Technically, it was an episode, and then the second episode didn't go. The second episode didn't go very well.
Somebody forgot to hit the record button, and it wasn't me.
So people who've been following us may remember that there was that we had another host and was on an episode, and everything went fantastic. Well, we kept having some troubles here and there. We were all trying to figure it out. And then there was an episode that we ended up, it was kind of late. It got pushed to the near deadline, so we ended up recording it. And then it was a long episode. It was like 2 hours. And then all of a sudden, I say this is back when they had to record. Everyone had to record their own channels independently, and then they had to send us. Everybody had to send me their individual recordings. So I would get one from John, one from Eugene, one from Alex, one from the other dude or whoever, and then I would combine them all, and we would do all the editing here. And what happened was he forgot to hit record. And so we had 2 hours of Eugene and me talking with all of these dead spots.
Awesome pauses.
With all of these pauses. And it was like, oh my God. And then when we realized, crap, we're rushed, we have to get this done, we ended up having to do a double and record the episode that was screwed up and the next episode as well. So Alex was involved in that one, and we ended up doing 2 episodes straight to try and make up for that, so we can maintain our release schedule. And that was brutal.
That was like when you get, and this is when we still did 5 movies.
Yes.
So when we got to basically like the 9th movie that we talked about, like didn't even care anymore. They're like, yeah, this is directed by, acted by. What did you think about it?
Fuck this movie.
All right, CTA.
We lost all
It's even fucking worse. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Why do I still come to these things?
That's exactly what happened.
It was rough. So unfortunately he didn't work out. And Nightcrafty, thank you for popping by, hun.
Good night.
And so he didn't work out. And so eventually we realized we were going to need a 4th. And by circumstance, I met Team Skeptic, and Team Skeptic introduced me to Johnny O, and then Johnny O and I just kind of hit it off. And we're just our kind of personalities play off each other really, really well. And I was like, you know what, dude, would you like to come in kind of like as an alternate, just kind of, whenever Alex needs to take off, for whatever, or Eugene's got a movie to shoot or something, do you want to come in and step in? He was like, fuck yeah, we're doing movie. We were already doing some movie content, some funny movie review stuff on his YouTube channel when he was developing the plot hole. And so we're like, hell yeah, let's do this. And so Johnny came in, and I just, what do you think, man? It hasn't, I know it hasn't been as long for you, but you've been involved a lot. So, any fun takeaways?
Yeah, obviously my favorite moment is when we had Lloyd Cryer on, and the magic of this type of show just kind of led us into making a feature film. So, I mean, come on, that's got to be the memory, the moment for us, right?
Yes.
I mean, because these guys don't know, but we are in talks in the background about other projects and other things that have sprung from that one moment in time. I remember I remember it too, because we're sitting there in between, because we did the regular episode. Stop it. We did the regular episode, and then we did the After Dark, and in between, because during the episode, or I guess before the episode, Lloyd's like, I own Nail Gun. It's kind of funny that you have me on this and whatnot. So this, that, and the other. And then kind of in between, in the halftime, he was telling us that he wanted to get back into it. And I remember looking at Eugene, and Eugene looking at me, and both of us kind of like looking at you thinking, JL, didn't we just have a conversation about you stepping up and asking people for this type of fucking thing? Like, Eugene and I are both just sitting there going, this is the time, JL.
This is
right now. And yeah, it worked out. The JL was like, hey, Lloyd.
I was not like that at all.
I was wondering if
this is the worst impression of me ever.
Could you please let us?
That seems pretty spot on to me.
No, sir. No, sir. No.
I want to know if you want to, you can say no. It's cool if you say no, but if you want to, we can redo the movie.
What is the duck? Why didn't duck? In case he was going to swing at me. No. I remember literally saying, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to spitball. I'm just going to throw it out there and be like, Eugene is an award-winning director. And I am, not to toot my own horn, I'm an award-winning writer. And you own the rights. And I was watching. We could see each other. We were on camera, and I was like, "When you own the rights to it, what you think?" And he was like, "Oh yeah." And he was like, "Sure, yeah, let's do it." And Lloyd is awesome because he plays things so he's so low key, and he's not like, "Oh yeah," he doesn't get all huge. He's kind of like, "Yeah, sure, cool."
He's like, "Yeah, okay,
shoot me a script. It's like, "Sure, you got it."
Yeah, he's like, yeah, go ahead. Okay, guys.
Like he was totally expecting us to ask. He's like, I knew this was going to happen. It's all
this isn't the first time I've heard this bullshit before. I mean, sure, guys, give it your best shot.
Mr. Malord says, I thought Johnny was wearing a stovepipe hat. Oh, because the monitor behind your head. A stovepipe baseball cap.
That would be the tits. I should make one of those just because.
You should.
That would be awesome.
You definitely should. All right. Oh man.
Alex.
Going back.
Wait, we have Alex. We have Alex.
Yes, Alex. Or we don't.
Alex.
Oh, man. Alex. Don't worry, we have tech support going to Alex's house to give him his own personal internet connection.
Let me see. While Alex is sorting out his situation. 2 years. Favorite moment. There he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Oh, and the George said is in the house. Good to see you. And Zachariah Hooper's in the house. Is any clips of Nail Gun? Not on this one. But if requested, Zachariah, we will show it again in the Discord channel.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alex, can you hear us?
I think he might be dealing with that weird delay issue.
There's a massive delay issue. I feel like I have to anticipate what you're going to say and say it beforehand.
I think
that's like a 10-second delay.
Yeah, it's like a 10-second delay.
It's a pretty heavy delay.
See, Jinju says that the night that bore witness to the birth of the kink-shaming cannibals. That was an epic moment.
Oh, fucking we can tell.
We can tech.
Wow. Okay, well, while he is sorting that out, man, looking back, what is it? God dang, there's so many. What's my favorite moment? My favorite moment doing this show in the past 2 years.
Not like you hadn't had a year to think about it.
I know, right? You know, I actually have to say, I think it's actually a three-way tie, and I know that's like totally unfair of me, but I have like three moments that kind of.
There can only be one.
There can be one. There can be one. We don't care about the other two. There can only be one.
All right. Okay. You know what? In no particular order, I'll just say, the moment we got our first patron. And that was Commander Darklight. Commander Darklight was our very first patron. And the moment I got that notification that we got a patron, I knew that things were going to change. That this was going, that we got past a hurdle that all of a sudden I knew the show was going to be way bigger than I anticipated. Because one person out there was like, you know what? These guys are doing the work they're doing. I love it. And I'm going to financially support them. And I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge moment for me. I had to sit back in my chair for a second, kind of like you let that sink in. That we'd actually produce something that people were like, we want to pay to see. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So I knew then it became serious. It became fun. And it's still fun. But then the seriousness level came into it because, like, this is something. Yeah, this is going to require all my focus. I can't slack on this. I've got to keep it forefront of my priority list. And that was an epic moment. Probably my number one. My number two, and I'm just going to throw these out there. My second favorite moment was, I got to agree with Eugene. The show that we did with Adam and Neil, with Neil Ward and Richard and Neil, Richard Oakes and Neil Ward that was just an amazing fucking episode. Those guys were so involved and so dedicated, and they had so much fun. And it was that moment where I recognized it was like, this is something that what we do here is something pretty amazing, because the industry professionals that we have on, this was the whole point, that we don't really get the opportunity to nerd out and have fun as fans anymore. Like a lot, we don't. It's rare. And if they ever do get the opportunity to sit down and watch something, there's usually it's not just to watch and be a fan. It's because, oh, my favorite director came out, I want to see what he did, like that, and then we look at it through the lens of being professionals. but I wanted to give people the opportunity to sit here and just enjoy themselves as fans and have fun. And those guys really responded to it. We get to sit here and just go nuts about these movies, which were okay. I think the ones we talked about were all right, but they responded so well. And my the third moment in that tie was either one was the double header we pulled. And that was when, because even though it was exhausting, it was brutal. You know, we try to keep the energy up, but when you're sitting in front of a deal doing like what we do with the energy we have for like over 4 hours straight and trying to do a show, it wasn't like we were just sitting here just chatting. No, we have the script we're going to go by. We have movies we're going to talk about. We're going deep. You know, we're laughing our asses off, and it's hilarious dealing with all this stuff. And it was so intense. Because at the end of it, we're literally trying to push through to make sure it still sounds good and we're still on top and the energy's good. And that was so fucking hard. And everybody gave their all for that. And that's when I
just described a porn shoot.
And I loved it. And that was as exhausting as I'm not going to acknowledge that. Come on.
You just
and as exhausting as it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. So those are mine. Alex is back. Let's see if Alex, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a little better? Jesus.
All right, we're going to try this. Alex, I'm going to say 1, 2, and then you say 3, okay? 1, 2,
3.
It's not bad.
Not terrible, yeah.
Yeah, we can
not terrible. Okay, so
I had to steal my other neighbor's Wi-Fi.
All right, so Alex, before something happens, you've been here since the beginning. Favorite moment or moments? Or something that stands out?
It's honestly, first of all, JL, thanks for throwing together and kind of pushing us as hard as you possibly fucking could to get us here every week to do this, because it's been an amazing experience. Meeting all these people and just getting to a level where we're comfortable doing this every week from where we were at the beginning has been a journey, and you guys have all been there, and it's been great. So thank you guys for this experience, first of all. Second of all, some of the coolest shit that we've done on this show. Let's start with Rebecca Kennedy, when we got our first real kind of celebrity on the show.
Yeah.
Somebody who had been on like hit TV shows, somebody who's done feature movies. Just the level
she's got a new horror movie coming out that just recently came out called Two Witches. Looking forward to seeing it.
Really?
And so just being a part of that and being so fucking nervous to now having this point where it's like, we could throw anybody up on that screen and we could just shoot the shit with them. Just going from that point to this point has been just a lot of fun. And just the shit that we've gone through, like these fucking technical issues every week that we just plow through. Like it's been an experience that I'll never forget as long as I live. And I'll be proud of what we've done here. If it ended today, I would be happy with what we've done. But I see this going so far into the future. No, I see this the fact that we have hit the ground running so hard in only 100 episodes. There's shows that I listen to that are on their 800th episode, and they still have fuck ups and they still have struggles with the show. And so it's like,
I don't want to know. I don't want to know that. 800 episodes and still dealing with it.
They have 400 or 4.5 million listeners, and they make $1 million. Their net worths are like $8 million. So
he's not talking about Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I mean, no, hell no. Talking about like Last Podcast on the Left, shit that started the exact same way we did in a fucking living room. And no, Joe Rogan's just a fucking meth head, dude. He'll never stop.
I don't know if I would ever call that guy
the opinions of members of Week in Horror are their own and do not represent Week in Horror.
Have you ever tried DMT?
I'm on DMT now.
I apologize. Yeah. Joe Rogan has the energy of a crackhead. Let me put it that way. He's not a meth head. He has the energy of a meth head. Yep. That dude will never stop moving. But anyways, this whole journey just together is, going through all this stuff and growing from fucking shaking voices, shitty mics, recording over Audacity the first couple fucking episodes, failing horribly and never giving up. And we pick each other up, and that's great. JL drives this thing so fucking hard that it wouldn't be here without your enthusiasm for it. And so seriously, thank you for this experience, and I can't wait to see this thing go far.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Now let's stop fucking kumbayaing each other and start talking about some damn movies.
Well, okay. Well, thank
We've
you
gotten
all.
really,
you
really
guys,
good at transitions, if you can't fucking tell.
Yes.
you guys have helped make this show what it is, and most importantly, to everyone in the live chat, you guys made this show absolutely astounding. We couldn't have done it with every single person that's out there right now. Just for every like, for every share, for all of you, for all of our amazing patrons who jumped on this and helped us out from, doesn't matter the tier, everyone thinking that we delivered something solid and worth it. You guys are absolutely astounding. For every t-shirt you bought, for every mug you bought, for every anything, it's been an absolute amazing ride. So 100 episodes. Here's to the next 100, guys.
Here's the next 100. Yeah,
right.
Insane.
I mean, look, to be honest, we would do this show if you guys were here or not. We would still get together and shoot the shit. But the fact that you show up week in and week out, that's what makes it worth it.
I mean,
We didn't expect that at all. You guys are all just a bonus prize.
Right. We are nerds.
We would literally sit here and talk to each other, and it'd just be like, "Well, hang on a sec. For like a year and a half, we did."
There you go. All right. Enough of the mushy
Kevin Paul says.
relations.
Kevin Paul F says that was a smart move, JL. Yes, it was a smart move. I don't need Joe Rogan coming after my ass.
Rogan's not gonna come after your ass.
Although that would be good press.
It would be
Joe
really
Rogan
would.
sues tiny little podcast. Bring it. I'll take that. I'll do it. Everyone will.
You know how many people would
Rogan
Google Week in
is a
Horror?
giant.
Us, every photo, we're like, we're getting sued.
And the Jordan says, Week in Horror, best live stream on YouTube, best podcast ever. Well, thank you, sir. We do appreciate that.
Thanks.
And the Jordan says his favorite moment of all the time he's been listening was that wasn't it. It was when he won the best Week in Horror moment, winning the Friday the 13th collection.
JL still hasn't sent that.
Hey,
That's
that
all
just
I'm saying.
happened.
Yeah, that's like that just happened.
It's still
That literally just happened. Yeah. All right.
It's like
And
I just started
shake
watching
it.
the podcast.
Then you bake it.
Ivy Gentry says, wow, maybe this episode is going to make me laugh too hard to do plumbing.
Is that a euphemism or are you actually doing plumbing?
Depends on what kind of.
about.
You don't
Depends
want
on
to
what it really depends on what kind of pipe you're laying.
Hey, come
Double.
A little from column A, a little from column B. Just like
I almost had one of those aha moments. Went out to go eat at a restaurant, and the lady brought me the food, and she didn't bring me any fork. I almost said, "Hey, I need you to taste the enchilada," but it didn't work. She quickly went and got silverware. Damn it!
She knew it. She knew it.
She was too young to know the reference, but just knew what I was saying.
All right, I'll taste the soup. Where's the spoon? All right, we have some fucking movies we want to talk about. Let's dive into this shit. Eugene, you're going to kick us off. What do we have up first?
all right. We have this movie. It is The Ghost of Mars that was released August 24th, 2001, directed by the great John Carpenter. It stars Ice Cube, Natasha Henstridge, Pam Grier, Clea Duvall, and Joanna Cassidy. And basically,
What the fuck? What about Statham?
And Jason Statham. And basically you have a group of Mars is now colonized. You got people there, and they stumble across an old Martian civilization that begins to take over the bodies of the humans that now live in Mars, and they go and start attacking people. And
How dare Thank you.
It's real.
Thank you. It's about to bust your balls on that one.
Oh, this movie. When I was reading up on this bad boy, I the things that could
Wanted
have
to
been.
claw your eyeballs out,
Exactly.
just rip your hair out.
You know, the thing about it is there's actually a pretty decent scary story in there, right? But it just gets so muddied down with bad casting choices. I mean, look, Natasha Henstridge, she's really beautiful and pretty and all that, but she can't act to fucking save her life, okay? She couldn't act her way out of a ticket. She couldn't act her way into a man's. She can't. She really can't, right? Beautiful woman, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm not talking too much shit about her, but she cannot act.
Hey, you're hot, but you fucking suck at your job.
Oh. Okay, wait. Hang on.
That's what I got from John.
I gotta come to Natasha's defense. Not for this movie. This movie, she was terrible.
Yes.
But she was good in Species. But I know what Johnny's going to say. She was playing an alien human hybrid that had no human emotion. So why would okay? I get that.
yeah, that is.
I get that. It's an easy role to play. It's very one-dimensional. Okay. Number 2, she actually was quite good in The Whole 9 Yards.
Everybody was good in The Whole 9 Yards.
You know, but it's hard to be. Okay, here's the thing. She didn't distract from the movie in The Whole 9 Yards. But you got Matthew Perry and Bruce Willis playing off each other,
and Michael Clark Duncan
played off each other, and then Michael Clark Duncan mixing there, and then mixing even Patricia Arquette, or not Patricia Arquette, Rosanna Arquette.
No, Amanda Peet.
No, Amanda Peet was in there, but so was Rosanna.
Was that really? Oh,
she played Matthew Perry's wife, who sent him off to go get go tell Lonnie Gogolek. The wife.
yeah, the wife try to get Matthew Perry killed.
Exactly. But so it's tough to distract from that because you have so many good actors and so many good players playing off each other. She was able to kind of still play that not great line delivery and kind of real rigid and that solid thing. But anyway.
No, they went in because the Whole 9 Yards, you had such great chemistry between Matthew Perry and Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Right.
And on top of that, with everybody else going on. But the thing is, when you look at The Whole 9 Yards, you don't think Natasha Henstridge.
Nope.
Like, at all.
This is true.
She's like the main love interest. But just no one thinks about her. So, yeah, she's great in Species. And she's a fantastic model and stuff like that. But this movie just...
Yeah, how are you going to have Pam Grier, but kill her off, and she's only going to have like 15 minutes in this movie?
Yeah, it was kind of like
that's the things I'm talking about. Those are the bad casting choices. Like,
so what you're saying is we should have replaced Jason and Natasha with Bruce Willis and Matt.
Not Jason. I think Jason Statham never should have been replaced by Ice Cube. Number one, I think that they should have left Ice Cube stay in that, or they should have left Ice Cube do his thing in Compton. But they
should have left him on Earth. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they should have left him on Earth. They should have left, and then Natasha Henstridge wouldn't have been that noticeably bad had you not put her next to Pam fucking Grier.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It was just there were so many bad decisions made in this movie that it really distracts. Because again, the premise, the plot, everything that goes on, it really is a good scary story. But
it was really poor execution on so many things. And one of the things that really stood out to me was the ending shot where the train blew up. And you have some decent special effects and some model work and stuff like that. And they like uncoupled the train. And everything looked kind of pretty good. And it cut to a miniature, and it looked like a micro machine. Like the main guy, and he's like this. And it's like, ah! And then you have the sparks fly off as a train like blows up. Yeah. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? It looks like a Hasbro toy commercial.
And Jinju, you are correct. That is Pam Roxy Brown Greer.
Yeah.
Yes. That is Jackie Brown. That's but yeah, there was so much talent that was wasted in this movie. I thought it was unbelievable to me. And not to mention people put in, because I think Natasha Henstridge was hot at the time. She was coming off of Species, and everybody was like, oh, she like that. Then when you try to give her something where her character has like backstory and something to play into it, there was just nothing. There was no depth there whatsoever, and her line delivery is not great. Even when she's surrounded by people who actually know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest issues on this was, I think what happened was it was part of the production value. So number one, I'm thinking everybody who was involved in it kind of, given all of the difficulty that this film had in pre-production, there were a lot of changes that were made to it, a lot of last-minute things, I think a lot of studio interference, which is what ultimately pissed John Carpenter off and made him. This movie pretty much, I think, almost made him quit Hollywood.
He kind of did. I think he
kind of, yeah. I mean,
he took a long break.
He still does some music production and still does some executive production stuff, but I don't think he sat in the wheel. No, because he did The Ward after this one,
right?
But yeah, he was like done. He was like, because it was just bullshit. And but what I think was this is that sometimes, especially when you have professional actors on set, and they see what is going on with the production, and they see that there's been writing difficulties, there's been script changes, there's been last minute actor changes, there's been all kinds of issues with this, and people are moving around. Nobody really knows what's going on. Then you got John Carpenter's idea versus what the studio wanted, and I think the biggest issue was there was a very expensive aspect to making this movie, and that was they shot this film in, if I remember correctly,
was it Arizona?
Well, I think it was in Arizona at a gypsum mine.
Yeah.
Okay. But the gypsum is white, and so to make it look like Mars, they had to paint everything red.
Yeah.
And that was
when they had selective color grading.
Exactly. And I think what happened is that invariably was so expensive to do that, and to ensure that you're shooting in a real set, and then you have to do this. That was so expensive that money did not get to go into the production where it was supposed to go into the production, which is why we ended up with like the Micro Machine train, which did not look good, and where things just kind of fell apart. Now, I will give this. I thought that the monster design in this, I mean, the CGI was terrible, especially the CGI Martians like that.
Weird.
It was like it was kind of like Dreamcatcher-ish, where the aliens could like spread via microbes or some shit.
Yeah.
And then they possess the human beings.
Well, it was spirits, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of
and so I thought the design, when the human beings start fucking themselves up, cutting themselves up, it was very, very Joss Whedon Reaver-ish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought they looked cool. And the action the sequences, the firefighting and the battle sequences were actually really well done. But if all of your money is going into your set design and all of your money is going into these, because action sequences are very expensive, especially when you have lots of people on the field, when your money goes to that, to basically the best things of the movie, it can't go anywhere else, and you wind up with really cheesy set designs. Like that was everything just looked cheap.
I don't understand why they couldn't have just done a couple of exterior shots with a red tinted lens and then built, just done everything on soundstage. I think that would have made more sense, dollar sense too, but it just seems weird. It seems like the planning on this thing was, hey, we want to make it live and all this stuff, and then we got to paint all the sand. And if you ever been to a desert, you know what happens to the sand, it gets blown away, so you got to repaint it. Logistically, it made no sense. I can build a set with walls and a fucking ceiling that I can control the wind.
Yeah. And
it seems like you're right. Like it's like something that could have been built on a set. And even when you talk about 2001 in terms of color grading, like you can take just a regular stills and stuff like that of the background, and we can color that red, and then we'll call it in film we'll call it a plate. You can take a plate of the background, and color that red, and then put the actors on top of that. I mean, that's
superimpose that shit. Right.
You're right. It's poor planning.
Yeah.
It's either poor planning or they ran into things. They ran into road stops along the way, because I know that there was a lot of extraneous shit that went down during this production that John Carpenter was really pissed off about. And hey, Atlas 6355, good to see you. Thank you for popping in. Sarcasm, the makeup effects were pretty decent. There was a good planning that went into that. When your monsters look good, I thought that was fantastic. I was one of the better aspects of it. I dug it. You could see where Carpenter's vision was going, and then you see that where it just kind of fell apart because of something that went on behind the scenes.
Like I said, there was a really good scary story in there that just got lost in all the misexecution.
Listen here, Big Daddy Mars.
Well, not to mention that this was originally supposed to be a Snake Plissken film.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can totally picture it as Snake Plissken.
Escape from Mars.
Yeah.
Escape from New York, Escape from LA, and then Escape from Mars. So it was originally supposed to be a Snake Plissken run, and then Snake Plissken was going to run into Desolation Jones, who was going to be kind of like the color commentary to Snake's stoicism. And so that's the way it would play off. And it was supposed to be, and then that just did not. What was it?
They said, "Hey, how about Natasha Henstridge instead?"
No. It was like the reason it didn't become an Escape from Mars was because of the failure of Escape from LA.
Yeah, well, of course,
yeah. And then that's when that's when the two characters are combined, and then Snake Plissken became dead. They went with the Desolation Williams character, and decided to go with that one. And that's when it kind of fell, because I thought even if Escape from, I don't know why Escape from LA. I mean, I know why Escape from LA did so poorly.
Because of bad movie.
The basketball scene was still pretty fucking cool. I gotta give it that. The basketball scene was just cool.
Okay. It seemed a little old. I thought it was cool when I was a kid. And like watching it now, it's like that's a little over the top.
Yeah. I do have to say that I appreciate the overall, like the underlying message of Ghost from Mars. Yes, kids, it's okay to do drugs because that'll save you from evil spirits.
And it was I know
everybody knows that.
I know that Michelle Yeoh, Franca Potente, and Famke Janssen were all first considered for this film for Natasha Henstridge's role.
Their names were too hard to.
Well, actually, they all
it's not easy either.
They all turned it down, and then Courtney Love was cast in the role.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. And Courtney Love had to back out.
She was too busy.
No, don't even.
She was too busy warning people about Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, exactly.
So Courtney,
how fucked up is that? That she's the first one to tell people. Well, not the first one, but the second one to tell people, "Hey, stay away from Harvey Weinstein."
I could have sworn I think it was Rose McGowan.
It was Rose McGowan was the
football,
first.
yeah.
She was the first, but then when they asked Courtney Love, "Hey, what advice would you give up and coming actresses in Hollywood?" And without even missing a beat, don't take a meeting with Harvey Weinstein.
And Courtney had to back out because I think she broke her foot when her.
I want to say, was it broke her foot or she got a better role off?
No, she broke her foot and had to leave because her then boyfriend's ex-wife ran over her foot.
Dude, damn!
Wow. So she had to back out of production, and then it fell to Natasha Henstridge, and then Natasha Henstridge wound up getting exhaustion during the production because she had just completed 2 back-to-back films before being thrust into this production right off the bat. It was literally just kind of like, we started, we're going, drop Natasha in. And it was like, what? And so Natasha Henstridge literally did 3 movies back to back to back. And I think they had to, it ended up being hospitalized for a week for exhaustion, and they had to shut down production for a week to, while she, got better, and then came back and finished the movie. So say what you want about her chops. I mean, her dedication is on point.
Who, Courtney Love?
No,
or Natasha Henstridge.
Natasha.
Look, I mean, when you are Natasha Henstridge, you take whatever you get.
Why you gotta make it dirty?
And that was gratitude to shade real fast.
That was deeply shade. That was some deep ass shade.
I enjoy Natasha Henstridge, just not her acting.
But okay, so let me run by you guys. Johnny, especially, I want to get your opinion because you're as big a Carpenter fan as I am, and I know that we have love for obviously, this could have been a Snake Plissken film like this, but why is it that? And I know you guys, I think everybody agrees. Alex and Eugene, I think you agree with me as well. It seems like everything that Carpenter does turns into a cult film. It does not hit at theaters, but it winds up becoming like. Arguably, he's been the director behind some of the greatest sci-fi horror or horror films out there.
I mean, one of the longest slasher franchises ever. One of the greatest sci-fi films ever. Yeah, the guy. Shit, two of the greatest sci-fi films ever.
But in the theaters, he just gets roasted.
They bomb. Well, Halloween did okay.
Halloween did all right.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, definitely wasn't a hit, but yeah, They Live was practically laughed out of the theaters. But it's such a good movie.
Charlie Wells says John Carpenter's Vampires is still one of my faves. Can't even say why. Just love the desert feel.
That's one of those movies that I enjoy in spite of casting. I can't stand what's his name?
James Woods.
James Woods. I can't stand him. I think he's
why? Shit. Who thought putting into the? Oh, it was like I'm going to have James Woods in this movie, and I'm going to and throughout the entire script, he's going to ask people if they have erections.
Yeah, right. It's so stupid.
Why?
I
don't. Who thought this was a good thing?
Who said, "Hey, here's an idea." Who thought to hire James Woods to begin with? Fuck whatever else came after that sentence. Hey, let's hire James Woods. And a Baldwin brother that's fat nobody likes.
Well, I mean, come on, he was good in Cat's Eye. He was he was good in Cat's Eye, and I thought he was good in Videodrome. Maybe Videodrome just messed him up. Maybe because that film messed him. Yeah, that film was. Charlie Wells says James Woods. Yeah, he sucks.
The only thing that I saw him in that I thought he was really good. Well, okay, I take it back. There are two films that his performances were really good. One was Contact because he just played himself. Asshole, right? And then the Medgar Evers film. Oh gosh, what was that one called? Ghost of Mississippi, is that what that one called?
Was it Ghost of Mississippi or Mississippi Burning?
Let me think. I can't.
There was another one. I think that he was pretty solid.
Ghost of Mississippi, yeah.
Ghost of Mississippi. That was with Ving Rhames, wasn't it?
No. It was with Whoopi Goldberg, Alec Baldwin. It was the Medgar Evers thing where he was, his character was, what was his character? Byron De La Beckwith, the guy who shot and killed Medgar Evers.
I think he was in The General's Daughter too.
James Woods? He's been in a lot of things. Yeah, he was in.
But he was in The General's Daughter with John Travolta and who was I can't remember who was across from that, but I thought he was quite good in that one.
He's had some good performances. Yeah. I just don't think that he has no range.
I'll trade, man.
He is James Woods, period.
But why is it seems like it. I was who was it said? Tony Regime said The Fog was great as well. Yeah. And The Fog was great. Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Atkins, Adrienne Barbeau, fucking Hal Holbrook. That one everyone was fantastic, but it also did not do well at theaters. Well, and that seems to be his curse.
You got somebody who honestly I believe is ahead of their time. And one of the things about movie success is timing plays a huge part of it. So when you look at like Halloween and we look back and we're like, well, Halloween, this did all this for the slasher genres and The Thing and The Mouth of Madness and The Fog and we have all these things, but he's always too far ahead on it. So that's what happens. So the few people see in theaters and then say about 5 years later, they go back to it and go, you know what? This actually was a really good fucking film. You should check this out. And then more people check it out. More people check it out. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
I've thrown it out there a number of times. Been like, people ask me all the time, what's your favorite horror movie? It's like, oh, I've never heard that before. But yeah, people ask me all, and I always say The Thing. The Thing is my number one favorite horror film. It's my favorite horror sci-fi film. It's my favorite sci-fi film. It's my favorite horror film. It arguably is one of the greatest horror films ever made, if not the greatest horror film ever made. And that's my number one. It's my number one pick every time. And that's arguably I think John Carpenter's best film ever. And
I agree with that.
I'd agree. 1981, The Thing in 1981, way ahead of its time.
Yes,
that pushed boundaries. And I think Halloween also I think that kind of minimalist horror, people weren't anticipating that, which is also why it birthed what it did, because it took people off guard. People were used to like hard. You're like, oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in 1974, and it was kind of like, oh, look at this craziness. And then he comes out with this minimalist masterpiece.
Yeah,
the Silent
they filmed
Kill.
in what, like 14 days?
Yeah, it was a super fast production,
crazy fast.
And then you have like Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th came out, and that went back to the like screams and and people getting their heads chopped off with machetes. It's all huge.
Right.
But Michael Myers, a big dude in a mask stalking around silently, doesn't say anything. That was ahead of its time. The same thing with They Live. They Live was so ahead of its time.
Ahead of its time, yeah.
And I look back at that and was like, holy shit, Roddy Piper obviously is not an actor, but he didn't need to be. He was the perfect everyman. He was the guy.
He was great in that. He was great.
He was the guy that the everyman feels that he is. This is who I am. I'm not perfect. I'm not, I'm not an expert in anything, but I can hold my own and I can make my own way. And that's just exactly who he was. And so They Live was ahead of its time. The Fog was ahead of its time. I think even Christine, the innovation that he did, that he brought to making that movie. Come on. How many car movies have you seen come along where people did what he did? That movie, that movie is still fucking amazing. The rebuild scene is arguably still one of the greatest in-camera effects I've ever seen.
Yeah, his vision on how to shoot that.
Yeah,
because that was him. That wasn't DP. That was John Carpenter saying we need to film this in reverse, and then we'll just play it backwards. The way he was able to tap into that creative way of filming, doing the 14-day shoot and making one of the greatest slasher franchises of all time, having the wherewithal that that practical effects in The Thing needed to be gruesome and gross to distract away from the fact that they were obviously latex and plastic. You know what I mean? Just that ability to take two guys who aren't the greatest of actors. Keith David's not a great actor. He's good. I like Keith David. And putting him with Roddy Piper and saying, hey, I want you guys to fight for 10 minutes. And you know what? It's going to be fucking awesome.
Matrix, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the greatest brawls I could put to film I've ever seen. I absolutely adored it.
Yeah, and it's just everything about what he does with his stories, with his minimalistic. When it comes, everybody talks about minimalistic this, minimalistic that, but they don't talk about how his approach to soundtrack is minimalistic. Like he does all the soundtracks on a keyboard.
Yeah.
Oh, and if anybody doesn't know, I put a link up to it in our Discord channel, in the horror music channel, in our Discord server. I put a link up to it. It's the John Carpenter collection, where he went back and kind of revisited all of the composition work he did for his movies.
Yep.
Go and check that out.
That's
man,
cool.
What am I talking about? In the Mouth of Madness. Holy fuck
yeah.
His whole approach is just, that may be it. That may be why he is the ultimate cult director. He's literally so ahead of his time that audiences just can't, mainstream audiences just can't deal. And
that's the whole definition of a cult film. When you look at any cult film, such as like say Fight Club, and even when the first Austin Powers came out, the definition of a cult film is a film that did average at best, and people didn't realize what it was until after it came out on home video, or people were able to watch it a couple of years later on it.
I will admit, he's had a couple of stinkers here and there, but every director. Every director falls short somewhere. Not everybody is perfect. Even James Cameron worked on Piranha 2. So,
he had to start somewhere.
Jin Shu asks, was about to ask if Piper's pro wrestling background added to the fight scene.
Yep.
You're goddamn right it did.
Yep.
Especially that part where he picks up he picks up the board and like swings and misses and breaks the board and he starts laughing.
That shit was great, dude. I still love it when he busts both of them are mad and they're fighting, and it's like, this shit looks brutal. But when he busts the window on his car and then he just drops the weapon, it's like, I am so sorry, dude. And then that's when Keith David really loses. I wasn't mad before, but I'm hella mad now. I fucking love that scene. It is so brilliant. And Sarcasm says, but Ghost of Mars blew up in his face. It really did. It did big time. All right. Oh, yes. Tony introduces the killer car genre was around before Christine. The Car, 1977, with James Brolin, Thanos' father. Yes, and I love The Car. As a matter of fact, Thanos' dad. Oh man, but yeah, I gotta love Carpenter. But yeah, he had some bad ones here and there. But hey, it happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
It does. And this is actually what I want to ask the audience. We've talked about a lot of John Carpenter films. What do you think is the worst Carpenter film? We've talked about what we believe is the best Carpenter films. What do you believe is the worst John Carpenter film?
Ward.
Ghost of Mars.
The Ward, because Amber Heard is
we just talked about it.
Yeah. But is the Ward bad because Amber Ward had a bad performance and it ultimately tanked the movie?
Yes. Amber Heard is terrible. Amber Heard is bullshit. That woman cannot act. That woman is worse than Natasha Henstridge.
You only say that because she tried to hamstring Johnny Depp.
You leave my love for Johnny out of this. My love for Johnny has nothing to do with this.
The fact that I have homoerotic dreams about Johnny.
That man is a national treasure. Oh, but definitely
Johnny.
Definitely let us know what you think is Carpenter's worst film, because there's some opinions there. We'd love to know. Let us know in the live chat. Let us know in the comments below. Or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
All right,
buddy.
Alex, what do we got next?
I wanted to give Alex this one because I think this one will be right up his alley.
That was pretty good. So before I get started on this one, I just want to say I walked out my door on Saturday or something, and there was something sitting outside my door. So while I've got this platform here, I'd like to thank whoever left a 6-pack of beer at my door. You're the best. I'm enjoying it now. No fucking idea. Just walked outside and there was a fucking 6-pack of beer sitting on my porch. So thanks. Anyways,
your neighbor's probably looking for his beer to this day. He's like, damn it, where's that fucking Uber driver?
You know what's fucked up is somebody came into my garage while it was open in the middle of the day one day and stole like 9 or 10 beers out of my fridge just randomly, and it fucked me up mentally. And then I finally get over it, and then somebody leaves beer at my house. I was like, well, what the fuck? So
they were paying you almost.
Thank you for that.
They just wanted to borrow the beer and just repaid it back. They just wanted to borrow the beer and just repaid it back.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, that was the previous film.
Oh, yes.
Anyways, let's talk about The Borderlands. Came out August 24th, 2013. This was written and directed by, it was actually directorial debut of Elliot Goldner. This is a British found footage movie starring Gordon Kennedy, Robin Hill, Adrian McArdle, Patrick Godfrey, and Luke Neal. This initially follows 3 men appointed by the Vatican to investigate some claims of supernatural happenings at a 13th century church that has recently reopened. And they get there and they discover that back when Christianity kind of started in that region, they would build churches on pagan ritual sites. And what I can only understand is like trying to purify the grounds or whatever. But so they end up this church that they're looking into had been built on one of these pagan ritual grounds where human sacrifices had taken place. And as it usually does, shit got weird.
Weird.
Especially with British found footage films.
Hello, Governor. What do you think we got here? Well, I think it's a monster. I apologize to all of my British fans.
Now, I know this is a found footage film, and found footage is not Johnny's absolute favorite genre of all time.
We shit on found footage so hard.
We often do. This one, for found footage, it wasn't terrible because a lot of it was fixed. It was fixed, footage, because they actually do through the whole opening of the thing. They, the guy setting up the cameras in the various places so we can get that found footage effect, and it was good because they're investigating. They're miracle investigators. That's what they do. They get sent out by the Vatican to go investigate miracles and debunk them and determine if if it's real or if it's fake. And what turns obviously what turns out what starts is like, oh, it could be like a ghost or a spirit or something like this. It turns into something a lot more horrible. But the film itself is pretty easy, but there was something that struck me when I watched this, and I definitely wanted to broach this, and that was pagan horror. We've talked a lot about pagan horror on this show, but there's a trope there that I didn't recognize until after a while. It just didn't click. Why is it Christian horror, like Christian horror films or pagan horror films? It's always the pagan stuff is always labeled as something scarier and more dangerous or more powerful than Christianity.
So
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no, right now. Okay, when I say it's the oldest trope in the book, it literally is the oldest trope. So you got to go all the way back to the Christian takeover of the world, basically. So when you had Constantine and all this stuff, they were trying to convert pagans. One thing that they had to do was demonize pagan beliefs, show how, think about it this way. Like JL, you and I, we talked about this. We talked about this in the lead up to this episode, talking about why do we have this vision of Satan being like this goat man, right? Well, if you go back to pagan religion, look at pagan symbols of fertility. One of them is a goat. So it was a way to demonize sex. And that's been the goal of the Catholic Church specifically, but church in general, to separate what they consider the heathens from, hey, look, this paganistic stuff you're doing is very demonic. We like the pentagram star. It's not a symbol of Satanism. You go back to the pagan symbolism. It's actually a symbol of the symbol
of protection
and purity. Yeah. All these things that you look at how Christianity has demonized, quite literally demonized pagan symbology.
What's the symbology there?
That's because I'm good at
there.
Namiology.
The symbolism. The word I was looking for.
We were going to bring fucking Willem Dafoe into this episode somehow.
Had to. But yeah, so if you look at how the pagan religion has been demonized, it started in the 13, what was it? Council of Nicaea was what? 325 CE, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's basically where it started. So we've been doing this for almost 1700 years. Just demonizing these people who they're not demons. They're just people who believe in like tree fucking.
That's wild. That something that was practiced so long ago, has influenced. I mean, up to 2021 has influenced filmmaking to this degree. I mean, it would influence literature, then it would influence art, and then that would come through in, let's say, theatrical performances. Then obviously film. But I mean, so long later, you would think that, but this obviously is a trope that attracts viewers. They always like, oh, the scary pagan stuff, and not lost on me that, of course, descending into the bowels of this church winds up turning into like this, I don't know, stomach or something that they end up
some sort of sentient food digesting Venus flytrap.
Something very, very weird.
Oh, I got 2 boobs. Speaking of paganism.
But yeah, and then that's the imagery of that is not lost to me, is that they ended up,
bark.
They ended up descending down into the bowels of this thing, and then wind up getting digested by this whatever this thing is, which they never even really hint at what it is, which is kind of weird. But, it comes down to it. I mean, that struck me because, we were talking about movies that we recently watched. It was kind of like this one, the movie Unholy, when we watched, what is it? The Conjuring. The Conjuring is a big one.
Any film that deals with any type of religious symbology.
That Eric Bana one that we watched, Deliver Us from Evil.
Yep.
And it suddenly clicked. It's like, what the hell? Every time.
It's the easiest trope. because it's the oldest. It's the oldest trope. Pagans are demons. Demons are bad. Christians are good. Christians vanquish the pagans. Pagans symbology. I'm going to continue to use that word just because. But pagan symbolism is, it's just easy, right? It's again, because it has so deep roots in mythology.
So taking a totally different fucking view on the whole thing, maybe flipping the script a little bit, Christianity being the oppressive force and, paganism or even Satanism being like the victim. Could you flip this trope on its head and kind of make the Christians the bad guys? Could you do that? Could you make the pagan
they
circle like a victim in a movie? Have they done that before? Because that would you don't see it.
What was that Schwarzenegger film that did that? Oh man, you know what I'm talking about?
Because
Jail.
Oh, End of Days.
That's the one.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They should do that more. Christianity
I think so.
Christianity's, got good marketing and everything, but I feel like that's the oppressive one where it's like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to be this way. And then there's a group of people that are like, no, it's okay to be you. And they're the ones that get shit on all the time. So I think they could flip that and maybe kind of, I think they could do it today. I think they could flip the trope and do it today.
I want to see that. I can, because there's like, whenever you start talking about in terms of making a Christianity type of film, you feel like there's so many restrictions because it's like, with the Bible and all this other kinds of stuff. Whereas with paganism, it's like you can kind of go anywhere,
right?
Because, especially with the United States, more people know more stuff about the Bible than do anything about like paganism. And so it gives you a little bit of freedom. Of course, people who are actually into paganism will go, well, that's a bunch of fucking bullshit. But in terms of the entertainment value, you have a little bit more freedom on that. I wouldn't mind seeing some more Christian horror films. Not like the Left Behind series, but something more like Prophecy or something like that.
No. Christian horror films, not horrible Christian films.
Is there a difference?
I'll say it. I dig. Okay, so Alpha K91. Good to see you. Thank you for popping in. It was, brings up, what about Red State from Kevin Smith? Because that was a religious inspired horror film. Absolutely, but it had nothing to do with pagan mythology or demonizing pagan mythology. Just a look at fanatical fundamentalism today and how it can be scary. And I agree. Oh, Tony Regime says Tony Regime says the Golden Compass flips it and has Christian religion as the bad guys. So I think the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons do the exact same thing, where it flips it. So like they're the ones where the conspiracy is amongst them. They're hiding information. They're trying to, it really kind of puts it on its head. But yeah, I recognize that this was a really weird trope, and it happens a whole bunch. And despite this, it also came out when I realized it was two things, that this movie did pull the third act switch. What started out as one kind of film, then all of a sudden turned into another film in the third act. Because it's essentially what it is. It's found footage from the first two acts. They're running around, the cameras are set, it's exposition amongst each other. And then and then it's pretty much what you'd expect. Oh, it's like a haunting, it's like Paranormal Activity, only a little bit better production value. And then all of a sudden in the third act it turns into a monster movie, which is in essence what it is. And once they crawl into it had a very as above so below kind of feel to it, and then all of a sudden all of a sudden the stomach of a monster being digested, which was unexpected. I didn't expect that. I was like, what the shit? It was almost like Sunshine, when Sunshine started off as one of the greatest sci-fi films I've ever watched, and then the third act became a slasher film. It's like, what? Where did that come from? So I guess whatever. And third act films are very, very weird. The third act switches are very strange. Why? Because I can't think of a time they've ever worked. So, but they happen so much. It's got to be the studio that does this. Outside interference, right?
Trying to think. I don't know of any that come up. I can't think of any at the top of my head right now that were were successful in achieving what they were trying to achieve. And I'm not sure
We're
if
talking
they
about
really,
Beetlejuice.
well, that's true, but because if you think about like Jason versus Freddy, it starts out as this horror film that turns into this weird, freaking westerny, not westerny, what do you call it? Judo chop film. It's so stupid. This action film that's all, like you expect to see Jackie Chan and
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a third act film that I like, and I can't.
Where that third act switch happens.
Where third act switch. I love the movie Sunshine, but you're right. I love the first 2 acts of Sunshine are so good.
Yeah,
that it just kind of you ignore. Like no one who talks about Sunshine goes, my favorite part is when you had the burn guy try to kill everybody. No one. People talk about the concept of the sun dying and the visual effects in it are amazing. It's just a whole concept, and the design of the ship was really cool, and it almost had like a Lovecraftian because they knew they were all going to die pretty early on in it. All those things are fantastic. Slasher, who's just going after Rose Byrne and Cecilian Murphy, no one cared.
I thought it was weird, and when you see obviously it makes your film disjointed. It throws it out. The balance you can't really follow. It's kind of like all of a sudden when you switch gears like that, it's like switching gears too fast on a transmission. It's like when you try to throw it without hitting the clutch right, the car's gonna fucking stall. Well, that exact same thing happens in movies when all of a sudden you change into this deal, and and like Anthony George says, third act switches feel like a cheap twist. I can't think of one that has worked exactly. Where it becomes one thing and then all of a sudden changes into another thing. I think fucking M. Night Shyamalan suffers from this as well because a lot.
He just has bad scripts.
And everybody says, everybody says, like what a twist. Well, that's the whole thing. Is that twist is his third act becomes something completely different.
Okay, so when it did work for M. Night Shyamalan, like in The Sixth Sense, the movie didn't come anything weird. Where it started to get weird, and I guess in Unbreakable, it was that third act switch it worked. It wasn't as much of a shift from what the film was about, that good versus evil, superhero, this, that, and the other. So when it turns into this superhero type movie, it is a switch because the whole first 2 acts are this kind of like mystery drama type thing, and then all of a sudden it gets kind of actiony with this fight scene that he has with this bad guy and saving his family and realizing who he is, but it still fits within the narrative of the story. I think the problem that people have with third act switches is when they don't fit in, like with Sunshine.
Have you guys seen Blumhouse's Fantasy Island?
No.
No, I haven't seen it.
And I don't. I had no plans to. I know. Actually, I have no plans to, but I know I'm going to have to eventually.
It kind of falls along the same kind of thing. It's one way most of the movie, and then it's like you feel like you can feel it. It feels like they set it up so that you would think it was going to go one way, and then they purposely shifted to try to make it twisty, but it didn't actually really like. You could tell that they were just going to fuck with you, so it was like real kind of
twist. Daryl M says best.
Makes a good point.
Daryl M says best switch ever was From Dusk Till Dawn.
It makes a good point.
I can agree with that. Yeah, I really can. Going from kind of the robbery with them on the run to a vampire film worked really well.
Yeah.
But Dusk Till Dawn is the exception to the rule.
Yep.
Because the thing is, people have certain expectations. And though you can kind of twist and play with the audience expectations, you can't outright deceive the audience. And that's why The Sixth Sense works, because The Sixth Sense, it's a reveal, but it doesn't change genres.
Right.
On it. And so it flows naturally. Oh, we now have this additional piece of information, but it still stays on that horror plane versus like, now we're going to go from suspense and mystery to pure action to martial art or something like that. That just comes out of the blue.
I guess I would fill people in. I was apparently we may have to have the exterminators out here because I was in the middle of doing this deal. I had to mute myself for a second because I had to kill a brown recluse while I was in the middle of the show that was crawling on my desk. And I was like, what? So I had to mute myself real quick and I had to take care of it. And I sent a picture of it before.
That's actually a brown recluse.
Yeah. it was on my wall and I got a picture of it because I wanted to make sure. Because if it's just a normal little wall spider or just like one, because I actually have jumping spiders that are here and I like them because there's a lot of bugs in the out here in the sticks. And I like them when because they handle business. But brown recluses, I can't have it because I have dogs. And if I find them, I can't. I let them run around all over the place. This is the second one I found in the house. The first one was in the bathroom. That was one that was actually in my bathtub, and this one was just crawling on the wall, and it got on my desk. It was like, nope, you're trespassing, and I had to get rid of it. So, so unfortunately, I think I may have to have them sprayed because.
Exterminate.
Call John Goodman. Just call John Goodman.
That's the second one I found in a week, and I'm getting a little concerned that
George said,
recluses everywhere.
The jumping spider, I will fight you.
They're crawling on you in your sleep, JL.
No, don't play with that.
Over you, in your head, in your beard.
I mean, luckily, I know if you don't mess with them, like they only bite defensively. So if you don't mess with them, they're okay. But I did have
a little tickling between your
Widow
thighs.
the other day at a job. I was wearing a glove, and then I realized that it could bite through the glove, and I got kind of freaked out halfway from bringing it from where I was to the fucking woods, and I was like, this glove isn't going to protect me if this thing decides to stick its fangs in my fucking finger. But yeah, I mean, they don't really
glove were you wearing?
fuck with
Was
you
it
unless
like
you
a little thin white glove for like dusting.
No, like fucking little like mechanics work gloves.
Like work gloves?
I don't think of.
They don't have fucking 6 foot fangs.
It's
they're mesh. They're like mesh on the fingers because they're breathable.
No, it's not like a Sydney funnel web, dude.
I still had a black widow in my fucking hand. It was terrifying.
It's like you say, like, oh, they can't bite through like a mechanic's glove, but are either of you willing to try it?
I've done it.
Exactly.
I've done it. I've relocated a few Black Widow spiders.
I don't like having to take them out, but that recluses are particularly dangerous. This is 2 of them that I found, so I need to.
So I told JL we'll send the FEMA.
It's funny because we've got listeners from Australia that are like, really, I fucking fist fight spiders and kangaroos on a Wednesday.
That's how I go to work in the morning.
Yeah. Spider. Shit.
That's not a spider.
Land shot.
That's a spider.
Yeah. This is a spider. Dude, that's a face hugger.
Yeah, same thing.
Like, yeah, they'll do that from time to time.
Hey, look at that. Commander Darklight's in the house. Good to see you. Our very first patron. We made mention of that. Good to see you, Commander Darklight. Alex, we got a CTA, man.
Man, I was going to say, we are an hour and 40 minutes into the show, and we're only halfway through the movie. So let's ask the audience. What? Are you arguing with me in the middle of a CTA?
Yeah,
we're fucking waiting.
We're an hour 23 into the show.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, so pagan horror, is it tired? Are we done with it? Is this the end of? I mean, I haven't seen anything except for The Craft that came out recently that wasn't very good. Is pagan horror? Can we still do it? I want to ask that. Do you think we could still play around with religious horror being
absolutely
2021? Holy fuck, it's almost 2022. It's just, I feel like Christianity's so diluted now and has become such a normal thing and a normalized thing. And I think it's less about religion and more about like somewhere to go on Sundays and Wednesdays to hang out with your friends or whatever. But like it used to be so ingrained in everybody's everyday life. And now it's kind of farther out there. And there's a lot more people that are kind of agnostic or atheist or kind of veer away from religion altogether because it just the way that we live now. Can we still do this? Can we still do pagan horror and keep it scary, keep it relevant?
I would say yes. I think that's a trope that will never go away. so long as religion is a thing, it's always it's an easy one to get. It's an easy one to do. So it's never going to go away.
There's something terrifying, you know.
It's always going to be a way for them to dig the knife in against the things that they don't like, or the things that they, to reaffirm the religion in and of itself. The movies that they make. And if you go overseas and you watch, because somebody mentioned Pure Flix, which is a production company that puts out nothing but Christian propaganda films. Pure Flix, nothing that they do. They're like the Blumhouse of Christianity. It's all horror movies. But there are production companies overseas in Muslim and Islamic countries that put out the same kind of things. Muslim propaganda films. And you see, as long as there's they take jabs at Christianity, they take jabs at Judaism and other things. So I think Johnny's right. As long as religion's a thing, there's always going to be a market for the movies that either that demonize pagan beliefs or opposing beliefs.
I wish people would bring back the root of paganism instead of like the diluted witchcraft or
but that's what people know,
ties
right?
and stuff.
Yeah,
right.
That's what people know, because that's what's been just propagandized by the Catholic Church.
Yeah, that's what people.
Man, what you're telling me is Christianity has had very good marketing.
Absolutely,
good marketing.
Yes,
definitely.
Charlie
Welch. Kirk Cameron as the last Christian.
And the funny thing about pagan horror is that if they don't want to do pagan horror, they just repackage it as Native American, or like, it's Indian burial ground, or they just borrow from other people's religious beliefs, and that's where they go with it. But it's all the same type.
It's
of
blasphemy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Oh no, I didn't have I had my notes up. What the fuck did I do? Keep on talking.
All right, skipping Johnny, jail. No, I'm just kidding.
You had your chance.
You had your chance. Damn it. Keep talking. It's okay.
It's right there. Just open Discord.
No, not those notes.
No, he had his
my
notes.
actual notes.
He's like, I gotta open Microsoft Word on my fucking Windows 98 computer.
Windows 95, thank you.
The last pure version of Windows.
Stop it.
I love those videos on the internet of people getting hit in the head and then they play the Windows 95 shutdown music. It just makes me fucking laugh.
I love that on they do it on roller coasters when people like black out on roller coasters or they're skydiving. And they're just like
Okay. I think I'm ready for this.
Cool.
Hey, somebody suggested that Week in Horror starts a TikTok.
How about fuck that?
I don't. Throw it out there. This was a fan on the streets.
Oh, I mean, whereas we take your consideration and your suggestions seriously here at the Weekend Horror, we have decided that TikTok are for losers. I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing everybody.
The opinions of the hosts of Weekend Horror do not reflect
how to kill your fucking social media.
I'm kidding. I'm just teasing.
How to blacklist yourself on social media.
Charlie Welch would like to recommend it. Kirk Cameron and Stephen Baldwin as Brokeback Bible. I can't quit you.
That has to be made.
Oh fuck! I would fund that in a heartbeat.
That has to be made.
Fuck it, I'm leveraging my house. Let's do it.
Take it all. Here's my account number. Let's go.
And it doesn't have to actually be Kirk Cameron and Stephen Baldwin, but it has to be two people that kind of look like him. Yeah.
I will pay Kirk Cameron in bananas.
Hey, you go on. You go finish your dinner.
Listen, I've got a wife and 4 kids that we can talk barter.
There, take my youngest. Take my oldest, please. All right, we got another movie to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot online about this film, except for the IMDb page. But I had notes. I swear I had notes on it. And I don't know. I guess I didn't save them, or I lost them somehow. But it doesn't matter because we're talking about the 2018 film, The Cleaning Lady. It's a very interesting film. Director was John Knotts. Writers Alexis Kendra and John Knotts. They both work in screenplay together. Starring Alexa Kendra, Stelio Savante, and Rachel Alige. There are a couple other people in there too, but nobody really cares about it because the main focus is on the cleaning lady and the lady, the lady who needs the cleaning. I can't remember her name. What is her name? Alice and Shelley. There we go, Alice. I like that name. So basically, what happens is, lady who is trying to kind of deal with, distract from like the bullshit that's going on in her life. There's an affair that's going on, so to distract from the affair, she sees this cleaning lady who is scarred. She has burn scars all over her face, and kind of takes pity on her and wants to befriend her. And we're gonna play dress up and treat this what she thinks is little girl as a doll. Turns out doll is probably closer related to Chucky.
Yeah,
that's one way of looking at it.
I mean, and then, as Eugene loves to say, it gets real.
Oh, yes, it does.
We're gonna wear that out before the shirt comes out.
No, we will not.
No,
It will never be worn out.
You wear it out, and then you do it again enough times where it comes back around.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, I'll give it this. John Knotts, I thought had a good. Okay, John Knotts had a good vision, and I think the script, kind of. Damn it! I'm trying to find a way to the best way to put it. The best way I think I put it. Despite the director's vision on this, the script obviously did not know what kind of script it wanted to be, because this film was desperately uneven and disjointed. Mm-hmm. It kind of bounced between two, not really competing ideas, but two similar ideas. But it didn't really know where it wanted to land. It was almost
didn't pick one.
Right.
Wow.
It could have been both those ideas, but make one or the other the focus, and the other could be like the coloring pieces that help build the story.
Right.
But it was like, well, no, we've got this single white female type story, and then we have this other type story that, well, which one do you want to see? We're going to show them both to you at the same time, and it's not really going to work.
And what would hurt the most is that when you have characterization, when you change up, I kind of like the ideology of your film there, when whatever lane it's supposed to be in. When you constantly weave between lanes, your actors are either they're going to weave between lanes as well, which means their performances are going to be horribly disjointed, or they're not going to, and that's going to make the fact that your script is weaving in between lanes all the worse, because their characterization is not going to their characterization is not going to match what's the tone and the cadence of the genre that you're currently in. And so we got some solid performances that I thought were well here, or that worked well here. And they, for what they had to work with in the script, wasn't too bad. And like Sarcasm says, and hey Beaver, good to see you. Thank you for coming out. And Sarcasm says the cleaning lady had some good tense moments. It just didn't use them very well. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the tense moments it had weren't in the right mind frame. That's what happens when I think you just don't commit in your script. And you kind of like dance, like, I kind of want to be this. I don't want to go too much because I don't want to get labeled a slasher film. Also, I'm gonna course correct. I'm gonna go over here. It's like, I don't want to be like a psychological horror film, or like an obsession film, like Single White Female, where it's a psychological thriller. So I swing back over here, and then when you weave between the two, that lack of commitment comes out on screen.
Yeah, and speaking of Single White Female, you look at Single White Female, there was still some slasher elements to it, but it was very much Single White Female. It knew what it wanted to be. That's why the movie worked so well. It was an obsession film about, I want to become this person over here. You know what I mean? The identity crisis, it all worked. And the slasher elements enhanced the story. It didn't take away, because it wasn't like, well, do we want to be Michael Myers in a female version, or do we want to be, you know what I mean? It was good. Like I said, they worked because it stayed centrally where it wanted to be. And dogs barking everywhere. Dogs and cats living together.
You're right. The elements definitely matched the symbology.
Yeah, it's you have to know what you want to be, and with horror just in general, because there's so many different subgenres in it, you have to be able to commit to one because those genres exist for a reason, and you can't just touch on the surface a little bit of slasher, a little bit of psychological, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because then what happens is people who like slashers don't have to like psychological thrillers, and vice versa on top of that. So you're not able to market to the audience that you want, and the audience that ends up watching your film doesn't like it because then it's mismarketed. They don't get what they're expecting. So you end up in this no man's land of a type of film that nobody likes because the people who would like it don't see it because it wasn't marketed to them. And the people who see it don't like it because that's not their cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, from the opening scene, and that opening scene was pretty rough. Just from her with the rats in the blender, and then carrying on, and then obviously the relationship between her and her mother, between Shelley and her mother, and that was goddamn, totally spaced on her name, Joanne McGrath.
Yeah.
I thought was really just I mean, that was some whatever happened to Baby Jane shit right there. That really kind of I was like, God. I mean, it's hard to fathom that level of abuse. But I mean, that's also kind of what makes it scary. And then also you have this kind of, like I said, it kind of jumps between single white female and whatever happened to Baby Jane, and invariably, with a little touch of Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the obsession and projection tropes. Real human psychology here played to its absolute extremes, where human beings latch onto particular things, they identify with things, then they can't let them go because of previous traumas. And this is a major trope, both in horror, literature, art. I mean, this is par for the course. Despite the failings of the script, I thought that the movie played out pretty well because it's familiar territory. We've been here before.
I mean, yeah, you had decent performances. It was shot well. I mean, there's and everything like that. I feel like this was a movie that can easily just get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Sarcasm was like, Shelley was confusing. Did she want to fix Barbie, kill Barbie, keep Barbie as a pet, or what the fuck? He's like, agreed.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
All the above. Oh.
And even that isn't the problem. The problem is the fact that the film just doesn't commit. It does not commit to being one thing or mainly being a thing and then having this other stuff. Because again, you can do it and have these other things color in the story. But when it's like, are we going to be this or are we going to be that? Well, let's be both. You can't. You got to pick one that's the main chunk. When you go out and eat steak and potatoes, your potato isn't as big as your steak. You know what I mean? That's meant to
at the wrong fucking steakhouse.
No, I'm at the right steakhouse.
Well, the film does stray into pretty gruesome territory, where it takes the premise of the extremely traumatized individual who begins to think, or basically her concept of love involves abuse and horrific things of this nature. And I liked where it could have gone. It had promise, and the acting was decent, and I think the girls played off each other very, very well. I just think, the film didn't know where it wanted to be. It wanted to really dive into those psychological tropes that really unsettle people, because the concepts of stalkers, concepts of kidnapping, abduction, obsession, these things are real. And I mean, if it had stuck to one lane, at least committed to that, then I think very, very. And even if they pulled the third act switch, like I'm saying before, where it starts off like the first two acts is like obsession horror, and then in the third act it turns into like a slasher film or whatever. It turns it goes full misery.
See, but that works.
That works exactly.
Because
that would play
you're
to itself.
Building up to that point with that characterization of the mentally abused and the that obsession, and then I can't have what I want, because again, it worked in Single White Female. It worked in these other movies where there was that kind of back and forth, and then it became this
when
kind
the obsessed person cannot, when they get what they want and they realize they can't have what they want.
Exactly. It's not all they thought it was going to be. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, JL, as like a writer, in your opinion, where could they have added or subtracted from this story to kind of keep it in that single lane story?
I think telling the story from, although it's a little, I think it's old hat. I think telling it from Shelley's perspective and not putting in anybody else's would have fared far better, because I would have loved the ambiguity that comes with her trauma and how she reacts to people doing things. Her interpretation is important because I think seeing the world through her eyes would make for a far more compelling story than just see her reacting to the world around her. I want to sit in her shoes and see how she views the world and how she overreacts to things, or she misinterprets things, or she sees things in a light that nobody else does, or she takes a fleeting act of kindness to be the greatest thing ever, where she reads too much into stuff.
Do you guys remember the movie, the Brendan Fraser movie, Passion of Darkly Noon?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Not The Mummy.
Passion of Darkly Noon, Brendan Fraser, Ashley Judd, Viggo Mortensen.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
This movie has that Passion of Darkly Noon type feel to it. And it seems like it was meant to be, it seems like it was a huge influence on this film. But they forgot to bring the spirit of that film over with it. So, which is what makes it real disjointed, because the Passion of Darkly Noon is a slow burn that ends up into being this kind of slashery type, it's the same kind of trope where you have the obsession and the possession and all this stuff, and then it becomes this, well, I can't have what I want, so I'm going to kill everything. It worked, but in this film, it just doesn't.
You can't. If I can't have it, nobody can.
Right.
Yeah.
That and Brendan Fraser, painted red with a barbed wire vest. Pretty
kind of cool.
Pretty intense.
Good choice. It's a good choice.
Yeah, when he finally loses his shit at the end. So yeah.
Not to mention, that Ashley Judd was she was nice to look at.
Oh yeah. All three of them. All three of them were fantastic. Babyface Viggo Mortensen, Ashley Judd, and Brendan Fraser.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Who's making a comeback apparently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Let's take a second. Let's take a second before we dive into the call to action on this one. Let's take a second to send some love out there to Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
Who apparently, I read the most heartbreaking story. It actually makes me really happy too. Is that he broke down in an interview when he found out how much the internet fucking loves him.
Yeah.
And how much the internet, everyone on the internet is just like, and then now, occasionally you go on Twitter. And I know Twitter is cancer. But occasionally I go on Twitter and I see Brendan Fraser appreciation threads where people just, and they are tens of thousands of tweets long of people just expressing their love and their admiration for Brendan Fraser for his entire fucking career.
Right.
I don't care if Furry Vengeance was a terrible movie. It was fun. Right. And he was funny in it. So, or whatever.
It's something people realizing that with Brendan Fraser got the shit end of the stick because he admitted to abuse that he suffered, and he had a lawsuit that he had to deal with. And so he was kind of this blacklisted. But the thing is, like, so many people loved him in the movies, and all this stuff wasn't his fault on it. Yep. It was just the shit that was just got piled and piled on him. And
not to mention the injuries during Mummy 3.
Yeah,
because he
during Mummy
fucked
3.
himself up in that movie. Yeah,
and I love the fact that he's trending. He's in the new Martin Scorsese film that's filming right now, Killers of the Flower Mound. That I'm so excited to see.
Oh yeah.
So it's like not only is he just it's not like he's making a comeback in some asylum picture, some sci-fi movie. He's making a comeback alongside with Leonardo DiCaprio,
movie.
Martin Scorsese,
huge
heavy
movie.
Hitters. And even if he's in that film 15 minutes and he gets killed off because Martin Scorsese has high body counts, we love it. And we know for a fact that people will go see it for Brendan Fraser and they're going to want more from him.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because he kind of just he like disappeared for a while and nobody really knew why. This is back before you had all the information at your fingertips. There were like rumors about this, that, and the other, and maybe it's drug abuse, or maybe it's this, that. And then when you find out the story of what happened to him, like, man, I was kind of a dick for being judgmental. You know what I mean?
Charlie Welch says, I don't give a shit. Encino Man was epic.
I saw Encino Man in the theater. I thought it was great.
Encino Man was fantastic.
Sean Astin and
come on, squeeze juice. No, squeezing the juice.
Yeah. Pauly Shore. I mean, that movie was great.
Yeah.
Ivan Gentry, you're right. He is awesome in Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Fucking A. A lot of Brendan Fraser love in the chat. Of course, George of the Jungle, fantastic. The Mummy series, great. I mean, I love
it with what's her name with oh gosh,
with
Posh Spice. Not what's her name. Not really Posh Spice. God. Elizabeth Hurley.
Oh, Bedazzled.
Bedazzled, that's the one.
Bedazzled was great. And even if you take the Mummy series, the first movie, he made that movie.
Oh, he rocked.
There are other great influences. I like Rachel Weisz and everything else with it. But Brendan Fraser, you could not have cast anybody better for that role.
Yeah.
That new Indiana Jones feel.
Oh,
he could have fucking played Indiana
School
Jones.
Ties. Yeah.
School Ties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the thing. You know, a lot of people remember Brendan Fraser because of The Mummy, which obviously means he had a great role, but they forget about things like The Passion of Darkly Noon, School Ties, that show his just real acting chops. The guy he is super talented.
Absolutely.
Oh, and get this, and he was doing it before The Rock did it. Journey to the Center of the Earth was fun as hell. That was a fun movie.
Yeah.
So yeah. Doing it before The Rock did. So yeah, but yeah, there's a little love. It shows some love for Brendan Fraser out there, you know, because the man deserves it. He's been to hell and back, literally, and now hopefully we're gonna see him blow the absolute fuck up. So all the love to Brendan Fraser.
Well, he's already blown up. Now he might need to slim down a little bit.
That's
oh, come on. Come on. We can't get away with not roasting him a little bit. The guy looks like the freaking
no. You seen his pictures? That was before. That was no. But now, because you see his promo pictures for Doom Patrol, he looks great.
Yeah, nothing but love for Brendan Fraser. I'm just giving him a little bit of a roast to welcome him back. But he did look like that scary stories that you tell at night monster for
oh my God. Once again, the opinions of the host of Week in Horror are theirs alone and do not represent the opinions of Week in Horror.
I kid Brendan Fraser. I'm so happy he's back. I'm looking forward to seeing him. So while Brendan Fraser sharpens his knives for me, let me go ahead and get this call to action. So I don't even remember what the fuck movie we're talking about. Oh yeah, The Cleaning Lady. So The Cleaning Lady ends a little ambiguously. Does Shelley kill Alice? Or do you even really care? I'm serious. Because the movie is just put together so badly, does it matter to you whether or not Alice dies? Let us know. We can horror. Whoops.
Beaver sees his boo, hiss, boo, throws rotten veggies at Johnny. Oh, we totally spaced. Fucking Airheads.
Airheads, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The Lone Rangers.
Good.
You can't take a thing like the Lone Ranger and pluralize it.
Thank you, Commander Darklight. Oh, it always gets me. Adam Sandler was fucking shredded in that movie.
He was shredded up until his late 30s. He was shredded. But remember Billy Madison, all those movies were shredded.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he was fucking built.
Yeah. Now he's
all right, definitely let us
cheese.
know. weekinhorror@gmail.com. We got one more to talk about before we wrap this up.
Oh, yep.
Before Brendan Fraser throws rotten tomatoes at me.
Yes, before he shuts us all down. I will bring it home. So this last one we got is released August 27th, 2004, and it is the movie Suspect Zero. So directed by E. Elias Merhige and written by, this is important, Zach Penn and Billy Ray, starring Aaron Eckhart, Ben Kingsley, and Carrie Ann Moss. Not to mention a slew of Henry J. Lennox and Kevin Chamberlain, who people will know from the major B actors. But the film follows.
Fucking Aaron Eckhart was fantastic in this movie.
I thought he was good. But the movie follows an FBI profiler who is on the hunt for Suspect Zero, which is rumored to be like this super serial killer, which in essence is a serial, not a supernatural serial killer, but a serial killer that just by circumstance has been able to roam undetected across the country, killing at will and indiscriminately and completely undetected. Like there would be this one individual out there who was doing this, and the hunt for this individual. Aaron Eckhart is the FBI agent. Carrie Ann Moss is his partner, and they are pursuing this. And of course, Ben Kingsley plays the remote viewer who is also hunting for this individual who developed his remote viewing powers during the CIA projects that developed those. So a little bit of a supernatural thing there with the I guess the remote viewing psychic experimentation there, but a film that I really, really wanted to love. As a matter of fact,
I think everybody did.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg loved this script when it first came along, but unfortunately, just like a previous movie, just like Ghost of Mars, this thing got hit a number of times. It got altered. Originally,
well, wasn't there a delay? There was like a huge delay between when the script was written, like a 10-year delay or something.
It got shelved, and then eventually got brought back and then rewritten. And it was not Zach Penn's original script. And the original script was grounded like Mindhunter, the new series on Netflix.
Stay out too late, past curfew.
Wait, what? It was the original script was was grounded in the actual science, like Mindhunter. But unfortunately, when the rewrite came along, that's why there's two writers on this thing. The second writer came in and added in the CIA Stargate program, where they were trying to look at basically cultivate psychic soldiers. And one of them ended up being Ben Kingsley, plays a remote viewer using his remote viewing capability, his ability to track down serial killers and then kill them as a vigilante. So there was I think the only thing really good about this thing, one. I mean, I think the best thing about this thing was Ben Kingsley. I think he hit it because it's fucking Ben Kingsley. I mean, he's Gandhi.
This role was fucking made for him specifically. You can tell.
It was good. It had great moments. Commander Darklight brings it up. I love the scene where he asked to pull the car over because it would be dangerous to kill him at that speed, because I wouldn't want to do this at 70 miles an hour. Sir Cam says, the acting was awesome across the board, but the remote viewing took me out of what would have been a great serial killer chase. Exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't need it.
Yeah, you don't need to bring a supernatural element into it, which it just felt weird to begin with, because you could have done, hey, they're hunting after a serial killer. We've seen that time and time again, and a lot of them are really, really good. You think of movies like Seven, for example. Like, you could just go that premise, and then all of a sudden, when you start bringing in like the psychic start, I don't know whose idea that was, but it just didn't fit.
Oh, the psychic stuff was the second writer. He's the one that brought it in, that added it in to kind of be like, to give it this kind of element. And I don't know why, because originally, the original script focused on the real science behind. It was odd things about serial killers. The fact that their birth ranges happened to be in a kind of clumped in an area of the year. It's I think it's around the Gemini area. More serial killers are born in the area of Gemini, and I think whatever comes before it.
Yeah, it's like three
Leo?
zodiac signs.
Yeah, it's like, and they for some reason they clump there. It's also the idea that the very strange phenomena that serial killers, virtually all of them, over 90% of them have an elongated middle finger. Don't know why this
Mine's
is.
longer than my fucking other finger.
It's just a weird. This is just a weird coincidence. And then that serial killers, almost virtually every single one of them, save for like a small handful, have always lived on a coast.
Oh, okay, I'm safe.
Either east or west. They always wind up. They always wind up living on a coast. They either were born on a coast and always stayed there, or they were born in the Midwest and made their way to a coast. They always do this. So
I want to retire to Oregon.
And the things in the script, in the script. Spielberg loved them so much it freaked him out. He was like, "No fucking way!" The sign, just these weird circumstances caught his ears that this would make a great movie. So he pushed it hard to get it made, but it wound up getting shelved. And then eventually, 10 years later, they brought another writer. They rewrote it and they put in the whole the CIA the CIA Stargate thing where they were cultivating psychic soldiers. And remote viewing happened to be one of them. And then they put in the remote viewer, and it felt very weird. And just like Eugene said, like it was very disjointed, which I think ultimately led to this thing being a box office bomb, which is what it was.
Yeah, which is really, it's such a shame because you have such a really, really talented cast. We've already talked about like Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley and Carrie Ann,
really,
and then Carrie Ann Moss, who is great as Trinity, but still has like some star power behind her. And so you have the names that can go and draw you in, and then it just kind of falls. That's what happens. Like it just kind of falls.
Yeah, the movie, it was almost like the weight of the movie was set upon the actors themselves. It's like it was required of them to kind of carry this thing through, and all strong actors across the board. Ben Kingsley's amazing. He does pretty much the heavy lifting. This I loved the little scene between him and the officer, the highway patrol officer that pulls him over, and I just like the characterization there. You know, I really, really enjoyed that. I liked the interactions with Aaron Eckhart. Aaron Eckhart can go from 0 to 60, from like normal to manic. I think we all saw that in Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he does that. He can go from me like, oh, I'm totally cool, everything's good, to like, boom, then he goes, above board. And then Carrie Ann Moss, I think is I mean, I don't want to call her just filler. She's a very strong actress. She's very good. She was excellent in Jessica Jones. I think she's very, very talented. And I thought she was good. She adds that, just like she was good in Memento. Kind of playing the same kind of
Fido.
Oh, the zombie the pet zombie movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was really allegorical to slavery and racism.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, I think it's one of those movies that
we're just gonna skip over those elements.
Yeah, whatever. I think this is one of those movies that I don't know if it was like we cast all these really talented actors, so we want them to carry the film, and they kind of just leaned on that a little too much.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's what happened, or if it's just that there was too many cooks in the kitchen with the script. You know what I mean?
That could have been it right there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what happens sometimes. Rewrites don't always go the way you want them to. Sometimes they pop, sometimes they don't. And I think this was two people who had really, really good visions. I mean, it could have been if they'd stuck with one writer, then it would have been interesting. But then again, given that this was 2001 and Mindhunter didn't really hit until I think Mindhunter came out 2018, and it was on Netflix, because that kind of series lends itself to Netflix. I think
Wasn't
if they
Suspect
just stuck with
2004,
was it 2004? Did I mess it up?
Yeah,
2004.
So
my bad.
They were hitting
2004.
They were hitting at it towards like 1999, and that was like even 5 years before it came out, and so it had been sitting around and bouncing around for so long that it, like, at this point, it's just a totally different movie. But they tried to keep the elements, and it just kind of tripped over itself. Aaron Eckhart plays like that FBI agent role is so convincing, and so like that really helps. But yeah,
what a heck of a lot. I mean, imagine, because Sylvester Stallone was slated to be in this film.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
That would have been good.
Yeah. At that, we're thankful that didn't happen. But
I am the law.
I am the law.
I am the law.
Was he going to play Piper or what?
I think he was going to play the FBI agent, Eckhart's role.
Nah, Eckhart killed that one.
Ben
Kingsley and Eckhart were fucking great.
Oh, yeah. Him as Benjamin O'Ryan was fantastic. Nerd Journal says, I don't know why, but thinking back on Suspect Zero made me remember the movie Highwaymen with Jim Caviezel. Good point. But Highwaymen I thought was good. Highwaymen was a solid little action thriller, because
there were good things that were in Suspect Zero. There just wasn't enough of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's just that concept, the idea. That's what sold it for me. It was the noir concepts of this. The idea, as Charlie Welch put out, Eckhart is born for black and white detective noir shit, and he is. And the thing, I was watching this.
Why it works so well in The Dark Knight.
Yep.
Concept, that concept of a trucker driving a long haul trucker driving across country doing this. And that's why they'd be unable to get, because he hits in different cities all over the place, wherever he goes. That's freaky.
Yeah.
Probably would still work, because, I think it would still work to this day. I think it's something that needs to be revisited.
Absolutely, because you had that one serial killer that was a trucker from the early 90s. And the only way he got caught was he had a girl in the back of the cab, and while he was like in buying something, she was able to break her restraints and get out of the truck, and was like running naked through like the gas station covered in blood. And they're like, "What the fuck?" And that's how they ended up busting him. But he killed like 12 or 15 people before that.
People in Texas were like, "Hey, what's that?" Oh,
yeah.
All right,
it's a normal Wednesday at QT in Dallas.
So going off of this, no doubt, Alex. So going off this, I want to ask the audience: would a remake of this film work? If they went with like Zach Penn's original script, would that work? In this day and age, when a series like Mindhunter, that David Fincher's Mindhunter was so successful, would this film work in that way, or maybe remake it another way, where serial killers and psychic stuff, the star gets up? But would a remake work of this film? And I think if they stuck to one script, let us know in the comments below, or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com. Well, we are.
Oh, this one for real though, because the true crime hype and the serial killer hype.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Riveting stuff.
I think you might be breaking up, Alex, but it's okay. Eugene, you got where I want to make sure we're getting a little long. So, Eugene, you've got the trivia question tonight. And tonight we're giving away a limited edition number 3 shirt, the Kink Shaming Cannibals. So it's that time, the thing that everybody waits for.
Okay. The trivia question is, in Ghost of Mars, what actor was originally cast to play Desolation Williams, but was replaced with Ice Cube so the producers could have more star power? I'll say it again. In Ghosts of Mars, what actor was originally cast to play Desolation Williams, but was replaced with Ice Cube so the producers could have more star power? Who was the actor?
First one in the chat gets it.
And don't be afraid to use Google. Google is your friend.
Google is your friend.
And let me see here. Skeptic Dank is saying I should check it. Oh, is it Skeptic Dank?
Charlie Welch.
Charlie Welch got it.
Charlie Welch, yes. Got it with Statham. Chris Derby's channel. Peter Lorre, the man who knew too much.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And Tony Regime would be so funny if it was Adam Sandler. That would have been great.
That would have been awesome.
All right. So what was saying? Popsicle, Ice Cube, Popsicle. That's cute. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. So Charlie Welch is right. It was Statham. Statham, who was originally supposed to be Desolation Williams, but then got dropped down to a smaller role.
Yeah.
In order to for this movie, which is a shame because if they only
more mistakes.
Yes. Because what was it? Road No Last Name says, I think they wanted to avoid comparisons to Silence of the Lambs with Suspect Zero. That's possible.
Yeah,
that's entirely possible. All right. Charlie Welch says, I already have the shirt. I think go to the next one.
Yeah, you have the Kink Shaming Cannibal shirt.
Yeah. Tony Regime says Patrick Swayze. Ivy Gentry says Jason Statham. And no, Charlie, it is the Kink Shaming Cannibal shirt. So Ivy Gentry.
Yeah, all right, Ivy Gentry coming in afterwards. Like, might as well type the name.
Okay, so Eugene, what I need you to do, freeze. There you go. Move a little closer to the camera. Drop your shoulders a little bit. All right, I need somebody to screenshot that for me, please. Anybody?
For Eugene?
Yeah. People will know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I got a screenshot.
Thank you.
And this is funny. So Ivy Gentry, congratulations, you got that. I think I've got your shipping information. Let me check because I've got them all written down.
Sarcasm. JL didn't say the answer. I did, and JL yelled at me in the side chat for it.
Yes, Ivy, I've got you. Ivy, let me know what your size is again. message me or hit us up weekinhorror@gmail.com. Let me know what your size is so I can make sure I get the right size for you. Ivy Gentry and limited edition shirt number 3. Number 3. Fantastic. And don't forget the soon, end of August, the Kink Shaming Cannibal shirt will be leaving the store. We'll be leaving the Teespring store. So this is your last opportunity to get it because it will clear out, and then eventually, we will debut our 4th limited edition shirt number 4. So be sure to get your Kink Shaming Cannibal shirt soon. And I've got the prices in the store still lower to the lowest I could possibly make them. To take kind of the sting off of that. So if you want to get one, now's the opportunity to get one, or wait for the show and win one. So congratulations again to Ivy Gentry for winning the Kink Shaming Cannibal shirt. We will get that out to you ASAP. All right. So I think that's it, guys. That's going to bring another episode of Week in Horror to a close. I want to thank you all so much for listening, and we truly hope you enjoyed the show. Join us next week when we take a look back at Itsy Bitsy, Jeepers Creepers, Annabelle, and All Cheerleaders Die. We'd like to send a huge shout out to our amazing patrons who have helped us make the show the success that it has become. We thank you all so very, very much. Also, be sure to check out Joshua Olsen's new store, badsamurai.store. That's www.badsamurai.store. Joshua does all the amazing artwork for our limited edition t-shirts, and he also did the upcoming season 3 artwork. He has some incredible new designs that I think you all will certainly love. So be sure to check that out. That's www.badsamurai.store. Visit us at weekinhorror.net, where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Followers get our daily splatter, a bit of horror information every single day right to your feed. You never know what new horrors you may discover. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a zombie head for all the latest updates from the show. We really hope you enjoy the new live format. We'd love to get your feedback. Be sure to leave us a comment below, as those interactions really help us with the dreaded algorithm. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and you would like to and are able to support our production, you can through our Patreon. We have subscriber tiers as low as $1 a month, bonus and exclusive content, and horror films that we send you for the higher tiers. However, if you'd prefer, you can support the show through our PayPal as well. Links to all of this, including the Discord community where you can find film recommendations, trailers for the movies we talk about, trivia games, horror watch parties, and even interact with us directly, are in the description below. And while this country is finally beginning to recover, we hope things are looking iffy out there. We understand that things are really, really tight and may get tighter in the future. As always, simply commenting, liking, sharing this show with the friends in your local horror community is the best way to continue helping us grow, so that we can do things like make movies and bring you the best in horror entertainment. Thank you all so much from the bottom of our hearts for helping all of us make these first 100 episodes a tremendous success. With your continued support, here's to the next 100. We love you all so much for being the greatest audience a podcast could possibly have. I am JL.
And I'm Eugene.
I'm Johnny. And that's Alex.
And Alex is Alex. We love you, dude. We will see you all next week. And as always, stay scared.